Well, in less than 2 hours, the House Judiciary Committee is set to hold a hearing on oversight of the FBI and its investigation into the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Even with Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle officially resigning her position, there are many questions that remain, and FBI Director Christopher Wray is set to testify and hopefully give Congress and the American people some answers. For more, let's welcome in Wisconsin Congressman and member of the House Judiciary Committee, Scott Fitzgerald. Good morning, Congressman. Before we get into that hearing, I know you represent the district neighboring Milwaukee. What was your reaction to Kamala's debut rally in Wisconsin yesterday and just a week after the RNC there?
Yeah, it was interesting. She was in Wauwatosa, West Allis, right on the edge of my district. And, it sounds like they had to move the venue because there was more people than they anticipated. So, yeah, there's kind of this renewed excitement amongst Democrats, I think, to kind of show up and get behind the vice president. And Republicans have to be very careful about this new energy, and we have to be diligent to make sure we get President Trump elected.
Yeah, how quickly the Democrats have abandoned Biden. So after a disastrous hearing with the Oversight Committee yesterday, Cheadle finally decided to resign, writing in a statement in part, "The scrutiny over the last week has been intense and will continue to remain as our operational tempo increases. As your director, I take full responsibility for the security lapse." What's your reaction to this, and why did it take her 10 days to step down?
I think there's probably this mentality that if we just kind of limp along and provide a minimal amount of answers and not respond because we can use the cloak of, security and intelligence to not really answer the questions that members of Congress were asking, that we can kind of weather the storm and get through this. Well, the fact of the matter was her performance was so poor in oversight that, very quickly everyone, both members on both sides of the aisle were obviously upset with the lack of information, and she probably saw the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah, and I know you'll be hearing from Christopher Wray this morning on the FBI's investigation into the assassination attempt. What are you hoping to learn, and what are you planning to ask him?
Well, this is such a rapidly developing story that I think, the questions you might ask today and that I plan on asking are maybe a little bit different than what we would have asked 5-6 days ago. And that is that instead of, being under the impression that there was very little knowledge by law enforcement, or that law enforcement had about what was going on, we are going to be asking the FBI director if not only did they have this information available at their fingertips, but why didn't Secret Service act? And now that the FBI has been put in charge of the investigation, it's appropriate that he's before Judiciary today, because I think that's where members are going to go. They're going to say, not only do we now know that you had the information, but why would you ever allow Donald Trump to take that stage? So I think it's going to be an interesting day from the perspective of the way the questions have probably shifted from where they were a week ago.
Yeah, and during yesterday's hearing, Director Cheadle was asked questions that she could not or would not answer, only referring to Congress or the FBI instead. Take a listen.
How many spent shell casings were found on the roof?
Again, I would have to defer you to the FBI's criminal investigation.
Okay. Word is that the car was rigged with explosives.
Again, sir, I'd have to defer you to the FBI's investigation.
Okay. You're not curious about... You don't communicate with them? No. Okay.
Just so bad. But she kept referring to the FBI. Yeah. So here we go. Director Wray out there today. Do you think we finally get some answers from him at least?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much analysis the FBI has already done and whether or not they have the answers to some of those questions available to them. Director Wray is a smart guy. Don't always agree with him, but I'm telling you right now that this thing should happen quickly and should be wrapped up quickly, because the problem is the American people need to have those answers. This is an ongoing election in which the Republican candidate for president was almost assassinated. We're not talking about an inconvenience. We're not talking about something that can be couched as political rhetoric. We're talking about a very serious situation, and the director should handle those questions in a very serious way today that are asked by Judiciary.
Yeah, the only reason that Trump is alive today is because he turned his head and he ducked at the right moment, not because of the Secret Service, as we know. All right, Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you.
You too.